How are we all doing today? My name is Anima and I have a Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi battle for you. This time it's a post-commentated Passersby special. Did you enjoy that alliteration? I sure did. So, I have brought a Samurott, Raichu, Haring, Granbull, Bastiodon, and a Shiftry, while my opponent, who is a Passersby, as is the implication, has brought a Rotom Wash, a Mamoswine, Goodra, Candlebollocks, Halucha, and a Aggron, and this is a threatening team, but honestly, I usually expect worse when it comes from Passersby, and this time it was me challenging them, so I can't go boo on them for using OU or whatever Pokemon because of my seeking NU battles. That's just not a thing right now, so I actually really enjoyed this game. I was just hunting for a good Passersby special to possibly have as a post-com or something, and I was really happy with this. Let's just say that the Pokemon that are that I brought really do manage to showcase their abilities. So, let's hit start, and yeah, let's get right into the meat of it, ladies and gentlemen. So, lots of symbols in a square is issuing a challenge. I'm sorry, that's probably racist. That's probably so racist. I'm sorry, I don't mean it. I'm so sorry. So out comes the Aggron, and I went out with Wooster, kind of thinking that maybe this thing would come out and I could hit it with like a Hydro Pump or something like that, because Aggron's special defense is not that good, but if it is invested, then that could counter special attacks quite nicely, and it has a monstrous defensive stat, so it would be really good. But sadly, my Wooster misses the Hydro Pump, which is a bit tragic, and my opponent is able to get off a T-Wave. The following turn they did go for the Stealth Rock, which is a bit of a boohoo, but ultimately not too much of a problem, as I go for the Superpower, revealing that I am a mixed Samurott. I just wanted to be able to do some damage to this thing. I kind of expected that he'd just go for the Roar the next turn instead of trying to hit me. So, yeah, but my opponent actually withdraws and goes into the Rotom, which is very good for them as Wooster gets his shit together and lands this Hydro Pump, but it's a Rotom, so it's going to take that really, really well, despite the Life Orb, despite everything. So Wooster is going to switch out, because I don't want to take a Volt Switch or a T-Bolt from this creature, and so I go into Gesundheit with the Lightning Rod ability, hoping for this, but they predict the Out Switch very nicely and go for a Reflect. Now, this, I neglected to really see how important the Reflect was in the battle, but I tend to have this awful habit of forgetting about Reflects and screens anyway, so, but I just went for the Grass Knot. Because I was looking at a water type, and actually my opponent brings in the Mamoswine, who is OHKO'd by this Grass Knot, so I did not expect that, because I didn't really think Raichu had the strength to do that, but my opponent does bring in the Goodra, and I don't want to sit around dancing with a specially defensive Fiend despite my packing the HPI, so I switch out of there with my handy dandy Volt Switch and decide to go into my Fairy type, but my opponent predicted that like a boss and went for a really awful move. I'm sure you can guess what it is. It's a Goodra, it's looking at a Fairy. Yeah, he went for the Sludge Bomb. And that absolutely sucked. He got the crit. I couldn't discern what kind of item this Goodra was carrying, and unfortunately Nasher does not get to showcase his potential, so but I do go into Wendigo. And I know the Sludge Bomb was there, but I thought maybe I could kill it with a knockoff, because Goodra's defense is not that good. But it eats up this knockoff like nobody's business and reveals that it had the choice specs. So I'm dead, because that's obviously an offensive Goodra. And regardless, Shiftry's not exactly bulky, so that Sludge Bomb would take it out. And right now I'm just scared, so I go into Wooster, and I'm actually scouting for the T-Bolt here. So I double out into my Gesundheit as my opponent withdraws, mysteriously afraid of Jeeves. Mysteriously afraid of Wooster. I'm so sorry, Wooster. I'm so sorry to devalue you like that. So I did the double into Gesundheit, and my opponent switches out into their Scrotum Bollocks, and I'm like, oh, okay. Alright. I thought that the Grass Knot would be like, I don't know, I just thought, I just didn't think they were going to stay in, so I went for the Volt Switch, and sadly they did stay in. But I went into Atlas, my specially defensive Bastiodon, as people have been telling me to use, and my opponent does miss the Hydro Pump, so that's one Hydro Miss for a Hydro Miss. I'm completely happy with that. And yeah, since I'm specially defensive, I'm not too afraid of the Hydro Pump, but I don't know what Bastiodon is capable, and look at this! The friggin' Stab Hydro Pump doesn't even do half, so I was like, oh my god, holy hell. So this is obviously a great time for me to set up my Stealth Rocks, just to get some chip damage on things that come in, because I mean, obviously their base stat totals are higher than my base stat totals, and I need all the help I can get to chip at them and narrow them down. So my opponent lands the second Hydro Pump, and I'm able to get off a Metal Burst, which I believe basically acts as a counter and does double the damage my opponent did to me back to them. So the Rotom is gonna die. It's gonna die. Your washing machine's gonna need repairs. It's out of here. It's gone. And I'm able to get some leftovers recovery, which is superb, and stall out the Reflect. So everything's kind of okay. I'm quite happy with seeing that. And I'm a bit scared of this thing, but I don't know, I didn't want to switch out, so I went straight for the Stone Edge as my opponent went for the Substitute. So obviously that's great. I'm able to get rid of the sub, and I just kind of suspected my opponent was going to go for the sub again. So I ended up going straight for that Roar, so Bastiodon is just going to end up screaming at this Luchadore bird thing. My opponent is going to get to a low enough HP point where their Citrus Berry is going to go off because they keep putting out subs, which is not a bad play, honestly. But the Roar is here, it's real, and yeah, that's a wasted turn on my opponent's behalf as they get roared out into the aggro. Now this is very interesting. I was just like, I thought this was really great. So this is a very interesting situation. My opponent went for the Roar, and because of my Soundproof, I can't get shifted, so my Roar makes contact and totally forces that thing out, so that was bloody amazing. I was really, really happy with that. Just absolutely really, really happy with Atlas's performance this battle. So I know the high jump kick is coming, and nobody wants to switch into it, so down Atlas is going to go. I do have Raichu in the back who can safely come in and punish this thing, so I'm not too afraid of it. And it's used up its items, so there's no unburdened shenanigans going to happen today. I did decide to just go for the HP Ice on the off chance that they would bring in the Goodra. There's no way in hell that bird is going to stay in on an electric type Pokemon, but my opponent does bring in the Aggron. So I was like, well, tits. And it's just gonna really not mind this hidden power whatsoever, so I was like, oh well, shit. And decided just to go for the T-Bolt. And I thought this would kill, but I think my opponent does have some special defense investment because it does manage to survive. Thankfully, instead of going for an EQ or an attacking move, they just went straight for the Roar again. So now Wooster is out, and even though Mega Aggron is like pretty slow, I didn't want to chance it and just went for the Aqua Jet, securing the kill. So that was really nice. Wooster managed to do something, so yeah, Wooster. That was really nice. Wooster is Jeeves' partner in crime, so to speak. Out comes this bloody thing, and I didn't want to switch out into Raichu. I seriously thought this thing might have T-Bolt, but then Dragon Pulse would have been the best play because it would have killed Raichu outright and killed Wooster anyway. So out comes Twerk. Now, I didn't really expect my opponent to switch out or anything like that, but I just went for the Psychic. It was my safest, best play. Would really like Psyshock on this thing now. But my opponent does switch into the Candle Bollocks, and it does not take this Psychic well at all. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. And I thought Ghost resisted Psychic, so this is a bit mysterious. Now, my opponent forgets about Girafarig's half-normal typing and went for the Shadow Ball, which is something that I was kind of relying on. And now the Candle Bollocks is going to get taken out, so oh my god! Twerkin is putting in some twerk, doing her job very nicely. And the Halucha's here, and there is no way in hell that I'm going to live a high jump kick, so I was just praying for a miss. It is a neutral hit, thanks to the half-normal typing, but it's still a high jump kick. It's going to kill me regardless. So I decided to go out into Gesundheit, who I believe is my last Pokemon at this point. And the pointed stones are going to dig up my ass, and I really don't like that very much. But we're just going to get off this Hidden Power Ice, and that's going to take out the Halucha. Going for the Hidden Power Ice just in case they decide to switch into the Goodra. Yeah, and now my opponent's last Pokemon is the Goodra, and I was really hoping, praying that this Hidden Power Ice would take it out because it was an offensive Goodra. I was really hoping there was a lack of special defense investment, but Goodra doesn't need special defense investment because it ate up that Hidden Power Ice like nobody's business and goes for a Dragon Pulse, and that is easily going to take out Gesundheit, especially from the range it's at, and Raichu is very frail. But I really, really enjoyed that game. I thought it was really cool. That's the first time I've ever used this team, so it's a shame that my Grand Ball and Shiftry didn't get to do much, but everybody else, I was just really happy with it. I was just really happy with their performance. I just, half normal. Soundproof. So everybody invest in a Soundproof Bastiodon, you won't regret it. especially if you're farting around in the NU tier, because there's those swallows and all that stuff and the chatters and all that kind of thing. So if you enjoyed this battle as much as I did, which is like a lot, then feel free to leave a like, leave a comment. As always, it is very appreciated, and you don't have to. So without further ado, take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon. Bye bye!